Great day, everybody. Tracy Brown here. Hoping you have a great day. It is Friday, so we are doing our kind of a wrap up that we do each week about a topic we've talked about, other announcements, and what is coming for the coming weeks. So I'm glad that you're here. If you're watching live, thank you so much. I hope you're having a great day. If this is a recording, please feel free to tag me below with any questions or need for clarification you have. You can always private message me if you want as well. So let's get started. I want to wrap up this week around fullness, just to recap it a little bit. So recapping our fears of fullness, and that's one of the reasons why, of course, we might struggle with satisfaction. It's one of the reasons why deprivation-driven eating happens, because again, I'm just recapping from the last two videos this week, is that when we have a fear of fullness, that usually means we're afraid we're going to undereat, and so we undershoot our needs, and then we end up not getting satisfied, which causes this cycle. So that's really important. Two, oftentimes we are afraid of fullness because of sensations that aren't really about the fullness, but it could be about our value judgments about fullness, what that means about us in terms of worth, value, like how we labeled fullness. Could also be more about somatic sensation and somatic memory. That's just really hard to deal with, usually on our own. So I highly recommend that you're working with somebody for that issue. So something that I'm really cognizant of in sessions is working with people with the different, being able to literally name and label what else we're feeling besides the signals of hunger and fullness. And then if it's not in my scope, then I definitely refer that on to a therapist who's trained with in somatic work of some kind of therapy that is body-based. So I think that's really important as well. So we talked about that already this week. Today I kind of want to wrap it up with the idea of, oftentimes we're not sure if we're scared we're going to undereat or overeat. So again, we kind of already get kind of anxious about it and already get a little revved up about it happening. Let's say that you have a food that you felt like in the past you've binged on, so you're already probably internally tense in your body about it. So it's going to be difficult to even get accurate signals. And that's something I want to encourage you with today, finally, as we wrap up this Fear of Fullness week, is come to the meals and remember there's a competent part of you, or all of you, that's really trustable. That, if you don't know for sure if you're at fullness yet, eat another bite, but with no pressure on that bite to stop after that, or to keep going after that. It's almost like we want to trust ourselves with more, not less. And so it's really important. Because I think if we go into the meal in a situation where it's like I'm really scared to overeat, we're more likely to actually overeat or undereat, and that again gets us back in that cycle. So it's really important to okay, what do I do on a daily basis? At least one thing that I can trust myself with, and if I have the capability of that, I probably can do that with my food as well. And let's see if we can show ourselves that. If that feels really scary and being alone with that feels really scary, then I encourage you to get out there, get some support for that. Eat with people that are for lack of a better word, a normative eater. Do it with your dietitian, your coach, your best friend. Do eat with somebody and go at a pace that you can go at. Eat some food, feel some sensation, reflect a little bit, and then keep going and get the information that you need. It's really, really important to learn to trust, and learn to eat with people you trust. That way you can learn to eat and be grounded in situations where there's uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's expected. And when we're in those situations, you're going to be in a little bit more of a body state of contraction. That's not abnormal. It's just recognizing in that state it's a little harder to have accurate hunger and fullness signals. And that's what we're working on here, is learning how to be a little bit more here. And if we don't trust that, we're going to have to add some tools to feel safer with being a little bit more here. And that might be safe people. That might be an environment where you don't feel your own head spinning. I think I shared this recently in a session this week. It's I used to go to the mall, the food court, And I didn't love the noise and the brightness, don't get me wrong, but I needed to be around people early in my journey. So it wasn't that I was eating with people all the time, but I really tried to not isolate as well. So I had other things to kind of orient to and to come back to myself versus just being alone, where, you know, diet thoughts are more easy to creep in. So it's really important, the connection you have. Even if you're not eating with somebody, get outside with the birds. Get outside with just other things you can orient to get yourself out of the crunched up feeling inside your system. And so I'm just going to leave it at that it's really important to not be afraid of overeating, more about like, how can I be with myself as I'm eating to know my edges more clearly. And when you get a little revved up, give yourself a break. Just take a break. It's okay. And then we talked about earlier in this week, it's not the worst thing in the world that we overeat. The only ways I ever learned how to eat from hunger and fullness was eating more than I thought I should. That's it. I mean, if you don't take risks, you're not going to learn where your edges are. That's super important. So your edges might be getting out in public. Your edges might be just eating more, so you actually know, like, oh, that's not even full. I thought it was going to be full. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, if you're like, yeah, I know I'm always eating to the edge. And I think it's really important sometimes that we recognize that if that's our pattern, we tend to get a little scared and want to rebel a little bit. They're like, oh, if I eat normally, does that mean I'm going back to dieting? It's like, no, that just means you want to be comfortably full, and that's really good. That's totally fine. I think we do demonize. I think we get so afraid of like the opposite. So if we're doing intuitive eating, we're scared to be doing the hunger and fullness diet. We're scared to be looking like we're dieting again. We're scared to get it wrong. And let's stop being scared and just being willing to have our own journey and take some risk. Okay? Because I think it's okay to like, I really want to try to eat to like fullness. I'm not making it a diet, but I'm at the phase where it's just like, I don't want to eat to 9 all the time. Or not all the time, but like every other day. I don't want to do that. Doesn't feel good. Again, if you're watching this and you're still in a food and nutrient repletion phase, you need to be eating to fullness. And sometimes where it feels kind of uncomfortable, a lot to get to where you need to go so you can do the phases now that I'm talking about. So just a little disclaimer there as well. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please let me know. Okay, I want to answer this question. Thank you for coming live. Eating with others is scary for me. I compare too much. If they eat less and they're smaller than I should be eating it. I shouldn't be eating as much as they am. Well, that sounds like diet culture, right? And I know that's hard. I know that's really hard to be in basically our own business, basically around what we need to eat, what we need to do, and because we don't know what everybody's doing all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of their eating. And even if somebody's eating less than you, that doesn't mean that you're eating too much. And I know that's a really hard truth to be with, but that's sometimes our work. That's our work to just feel the anger about that, if that's what it is, to feel the sadness about that, if that's what that is. And coming back to blaming what is really to blame. Not yourself, not other people's bodies, but just angry that we have to deal with diet culture. It really stinks. And sadness for, gosh, it stinks that I didn't get the message that my needs were 100% good and okay and not too much. And that's what we have to bring compassion to over and over again. So lastly, I want to give you a few announcements because, gosh, a lot is going on. And I want to thank you all for giving or asking, like reaching out and asking for what you needed. I really appreciate that. And so we've had some requests to talk about body changes during our menstrual cycle and staying grounded and not getting reactive. And assuming that, like, if you feel more sensation or you're a little bloated, that you've gained 30 pounds overnight. We're going to work on that next week. And then the week after, I want to talk more about just in general comparison. Bodies, food, movement, journeys, struggles, whatever. I think that's also a cultural trap. Comparing. Thinking that somebody else is above or below us. And we're going to talk about that not next week, but the week after. So be looking out for that. I guess that's going to be toward the last week here in August. So if you're watching this months and years later, end of August 2019 is when we're going to talk about those things. So, and I want to let you know that things are in progress with creating a private, super duper accessible alternative to Facebook groups where you can find support and get a lot of just a lot of support. So that's all in the works. It's being created now. It's a lot of work, but we're making it work, and I'm hoping to have a lot of that done before the holidays start. So before Thanksgiving for sure. Having a space where it's private, you have to have a password to get in. You're going to have supportive other videos and audios and worksheets, plus access to me, lives, those kind of things. That won't be in the open intuitive eating support group. So I'll keep doing what I'm always doing, but it's going to be in basically a password protected space. So, and there will be a small fee, but it's not going to be unreachable, I don't think, for anybody. And for those who it actually is for, we will figure something out. So anyway, and the fee is only because I've got to pay for the hosting and all kinds of little trinkets that add up to make that stuff work. So that's what's in the works for the next couple months. So be on the lookout for that. So it's going to be a forum style plus, teachings and all that kind of good stuff. So it's going to be similar to, support groups that are online, but just private, and you kind of have to have a password to get in. So that's what's coming up soon, and that might kind of eliminate some of our worries about exposure and trolls and stuff like that. So that's the goal for that. And I do because of you all's investment in that, I'm going to also be bringing in just experts and things who are really, really good at certain things that I know some about, but I'm not like in the nitty gritty about every day. So hormone health and chronic stuff. I'm really interested in autoimmunity for people who have who are doing recovery and intuitive eating and dealing with the intersection with that. So I want to have some people that have experience with that a lot more than I do to help out and answer questions and just work with the diverse issues we all have. And because not all of us are going to be the same age forever, that we're going to be going through different things as well. So I hope all of this is helpful to know about and to be thinking for the future about what you need for your own journey, these groups, these lives, what you need individually, and what you'd like to see in a more group supportive setting as well. So thank you all so much for watching. I'm excited that you're all here, and if this was helpful, please share it with people that you think would benefit around fears about fullness. The whole series is obviously up on my Tracy Brown RD, this page you're watching on now, and I share it in the different groups that, the one I own and the other ones I'm able to share it in as well. And then of course it's always going to be on my YouTube the following week. And that's Tracy Brown RD. I think it has all my initials on there for some reason. RD, LDN. For some reason I had to do that on YouTube. I don't know why. But I've got many, many years of videos on there that cover broad topics. So if you're looking for something, put my name in the search and put the topic in the search and you'll probably find it. So, all right. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great weekend. I would love to hear about your weekend plans too. And I'll be putting some, connecting with you this weekend as well as always. So thank you so much and have a really great day and take care. Bye.